Welcome to the Museum Roadshow. Today we're out at the airport visiting with Doc Wething, or Dwayne Wething. Everybody knows you by Doc. About the history of aviation in Detroit Lakes. Doc is well qualified to give us that history. In fact, you just got an award. Well, the Oberstar Award for your work in aviation. So I want to say congratulations for all the people.
That was just a really nice surprise. I thought I was getting an award for serving on the Minnesota Council of Airports board, which I'm now off of, but I didn't realize it was going to be the Oberstar Award, which is a very nice award to get.
Yes, it is. So, I just said it was the Detroit Lakes, didn't I say it was the Detroit Lakes Airport? What is the correct name of this airport?
Well, it has goes by a couple of names, but Detroit Lakes Airport is the official name that's on all the maps and everything, but it's owned by Becker County and the city of Detroit Lakes, and it's also named Wething Field, which is different than airport. But people know where Detroit Lakes is, so it's called Detroit Lakes Airport. It's easier to find on a map than, if you're not familiar, than Becker County, especially on the Airways maps.
Oh, good. And that's true. I know that both city and county have people on the board, or the commission, or whatever it's called, committee. When did the airport start? When did they start using this, and where did they come up with this land? It's probably the only flat piece of land around, huh?
Well, in 1926, 226 acres with 1,400 feet of shoreline was purchased from the Hogog family for $26,000.
Really? What a deal.
It's been used as a flying field even before that, but ever since that time it belonged to the city. And then when we went in 1969 with the county, they accepted half the property in exchange for being a partner in half the cost of operating the airport. And the reason we did that, we did a pretty long survey, and it indicated that more than half the people who flew in here were going to destinations in the county. So after talking to the county for a while, they agreed, yes, they would partner with the city, and it's been a good relationship ever since.
That's good. What did they have for the first runways, you know? I mean, 1926, well, I was trying to remember when the Wright brothers built their airplane.
That was about 1903.
Okay.
But the first runways out here were done by the WPA crews using horses and scrapers, and they laid out approximately the same location that the runways are now, and that was in about 1936.
Well, what did they use before? Because planes did land, didn't they?
You just found the flattest spot you could in the field and landed. And this was a really relatively flat piece of property. And if you remember seeing pictures of the old airplanes, they had wheels on them about as big as Model Ts. They could go over a lot rougher ground than our airplanes now with their smaller wheels.
Right.
But
well, did they ever have any accidents on those types of landings?
Well, I'm sure they did. I found some material, and I think you gave it to me, about a guy flying through here that thought he was landing on this field and landed on something farther west and tipped his airplane over, and he was delivering red paint, and the paint opened and spilled, and the people that rushed out to help him thought he certainly had to be dead because he was dripping red, and it all turned out to be red paint. And the airplane was quite severely damaged. And a guy by the name of Hank Olson, that I didn't know but lived here in Detroit Lakes, was an aircraft mechanic and fixed that airplane for it, and they did fly it out of here.
Isn't that something? That must have been a sight to see all that red paint dripping off of him.
Well, we've had relatively few accidents out here that over the years that I've been here, we've had a couple of fatals, but they weren't on the airport. They were made by people who either had inexperience and the wind bothered them, or they had aircraft trouble after they left the airport.
Oh, okay. So landing wasn't the problem?
No. From what I have got here, about 1933 and 34, Willard Schultz, who was Wally Schultz's brother, started to fly out here with Len Renowans, and everything up until World War II was a pretty quiet time out here at the airport. But World War II really sparked an interest in aviation, and it was just kind of curious. But this morning, church circle is meeting out here, and the daughter of the man who dedicated the original building on the airport that's still here, Henry Jensen, is out here with her circle group. When we go outside, you can see the additions that have been made to the airport since that original building.
They had a big dedication service. Was that in big dedication in
That was in 1944 when they dedicated that building, and they figured there were 1,000 people out here, so it was a big deal. And of course, ever since World War II was over, aviation really took off, and the airport has grown constantly since that, and we have acquired more property, and it's a little bigger than the 226 acres, probably up around 300 acres now.
Well, we're going to continue our discussion and in a few minutes, or maybe next week or whatever. But thank you for sharing this, and we'll be back later.